let's say you create little character brushes. You could paint a character in a different position in each frame and create some sort of animation. Do a search for Muybridge. Muybridge was the photographer from the late 1800s who was really well known in animation history books as being the person who was studying the motion of horses. So I got my horses. And what you could do, which is really cool, is make brushes out of these horses. And so I do a selection, one of these horses, and just do a bunch of defined brushes. So I'll define, I won't do them all, but I'll define one brush preset, and that's good. Do another marquee selection, go to edit, define another brush preset. I'd probably number the brushes so I just remember what these brushes are. Go here, find another one. So if you created a whole series of galloping brushes or characters or whatever, then you can take these into another document. So that's probably enough. But I'll create another document here. And then if I have 4 brushes, let's say, and I'll go back in order. So I have this brush, and then I'll go to this brush, kind of put it on top. And then I'll go to the next brush and create a new layer each time I lay down a brush, final brush. So I have my 4 layers. I'm gonna double click on background and hit OK just to make it a normal layer. And then when I go into the timeline, I'm going to select frame animation and hit that. And then I have my 4 layers here. So I'm going to create 4 frames. So layer 1 should correspond with just layer 0. Then layer 2 should be layer 1. Then layer 3 is layer 3. Then layer 4 is frame 4 is layer 4. So I can look at this, play that, then I have the animation, right? So you can take these references and you can really create these really interesting little GIFs, which is cool. That could be like the background of one of the walls, let's say, a little horse animation. You can also, if you have somebody who's acting for you, take photographs, hit the button on the camera where you're taking a bunch of photographs in succession. Somebody's running, right? And then you'll have those still photographs, and then bring those into Photoshop, and you can animate that as well, which is really cool. And maybe, so what you can do with this stuff, which is fun, is then create additional layers, but maybe those layers are like just shapes that overlay, and there's color inside of them. So I have that, and then I could take that and have it set to multiply, but only apply that to the like layer 1, let's say, and then I have to adjust these, then maybe have a different color on layer 2. So you can do all sorts of things, just like playing with like really basic shapes, but you can get some really cool and interesting effects out of it. Sometimes you have to go back and adjust things, so you get some really interesting, colorful strobing effects. If you take your parallax landscape and then put it in the background, you can do something interesting with that. So what's neat about Photoshop and the way you can do things, you can take this, and actually I'm going to crop it down. So I'm just going to make it into a little GIF. So you take this, and if you want to save it as a GIF, you go to File, and you have to pick Save for Web Legacy. So for whatever reason, Photoshop took the GIF animation function and put it in the Save for Web Legacy. So the GIF format is the only file format that's an image format that actually will let you include animation, right? And everybody knows what a GIF is. You get GIFs on your phone, but it's the only 2D format that actually includes animation. Otherwise, you have to create a video. So if you go to Save, and here's the dialog that comes up. So you have to go to Save for Web Legacy. You can't do this in export, because in export, there's a GIF option, but there's no playhead down below, and you'll just save out the single image. But here I can go through and I can run through and I can play this so I can see my animation. And then once you just go ahead and hit save, you can play with the quality of it if you want to. And then here I'm going to hit save. And the way to look at this, you have to look at it in a web browser. So if you look at it in your operating system, it's going to look like a single image. But if you go into Chrome and you find that GIF, so that's the way you can look at it. You have to look at it in your browser. Or you can